be talking about how to go and visit people. So, just making sure that I'm making space in my ministry for things that tie me to Christ, that help remind me that, God is present in this ministry and in my life and in my ministry here. Just kind of, I think, clinging to the places that other people can't really touch, which sounds so petty, but I don't mean it to be that. It's just, there's so many other parts of ministry where you have to work as a team, so it's kind of nice places where you can just
carve out a place.
Yeah, be.
Well, yeah. So that's that would be my next question. Is you complimented me in the discussion on the millennials that I treated you as a colleague, as a professional, and so I guess how do you claim that for yourself at Leesburg? How do you come to the point where saying, all right, I'm going to be here, I'm here. How do I engage my practice as a professional, as someone who's trained, who has the degree, who
Got the debt to prove it.
Got the debt to prove it. Yeah. So I mean, it seems to me that would kind of counterbalance a little bit of the victim mentality.
Yeah.
Is to be able to claim to yourself, "Daggone it, I'm a professional.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing."
I think it'll just be the thing that almost every parent teaches, just picking my battles. What am I willing to say? Yeah, okay, Jim, if you want to implement this new thing and mess with this part that I'm in charge over, that's fine. But just making really clear the lines of no, I'm not, and not in a pushy way, but just in a. I spend time discerning what I think God's calling me to do here. I'm not just a bump on a log or throwing caution to the wind and just doing stuff because I feel like doing it. I think about what I'm doing. I have intentionality behind it. I mean, sometimes that's work. Keeping in mind the fellowship event where he wanted to do the Seder meal, and I just really pushed back against that. I mean, just reminding myself that there are he listens, he does. I think also, again, just clinging to the stuff that I know I'm good at. I know I'm good at congregational care, and I think I have a better idea of what we need in terms of fellowship than he does. He probably, I don't know, he has better ideas for other things that that I'm not in charge of. But, yeah, I think also, I don't know, it's hard because I don't know if it's an unhealthy thing to think of yourself as just put your head down, all the things your dad tells you, put your head down, keep your nose clean, just
and work hard.
And work hard and just push through it, and maybe that's what I have to do, because I think part of the reason I get so frustrated with Jim is because I do have such a desire to be a team player. I think, so then anytime he comes up with a new something, it's well, I want to be a team player, but you're really making it hard to be a part of this team, and so, I don't know, I don't want to create more issues, I don't want to silo, so that it's just this weird balance of.
It sounds like it's not a shared vision among the staff. Well, especially because the vision keeps changing. And maybe if it's not the vision that changes,
process or whatever.
The mission to achieve the vision, it keeps changing. What, if anything, gives you hope? Just point blank.
In my ministry.
In ministry, at home.
Well, the young adults that I work with give me hope. Getting to be with them. Nora, my friendships and just really not a lot in the church right now, but working with young adults gives me hope, and I don't know. That's a good question. I'm really sad that I don't have like a super ton of answers off the top of my head, but
How angry are you that things keep changing?
I'm highly irritated, which is a lot of anger for me.
Like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah. It might look like a 3 on someone else's scale, but yeah, I'm like, we can't kind of taking a break from the change, but yeah. 7 is a good, that's, a 7, maybe not a 7, maybe I'm like at a 5 right now because I haven't actually been to the meeting, so I'm just brewing over what I think is going to happen. I don't know if anything will
I'm
actually
really good at
happen.
that too.
Who knows? I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say I'm at a 5, but I don't know. That's what I told. Another issue I think right now I'm having is I've been in a horrible situation. Like, I've been in a horrible work situation, and this isn't it. So it just irritates the snot out of me that I'm just not more, that I am kind of have this victim mentality. Like, I just want to be able to say, like, things are crappy, they're not the worst, but, like, let's move on. You know, I just want to, I hate, you know, and I guess to be fair to myself, I didn't even realize I actually felt this way until we visited Alta Vista. Like, I guess I had in some ways until we did this vacation pushed past that and had fooled myself into believing, maybe not fooled myself, but had become okay with whatever the situation was. Like, so, I don't know. I hate being a complainer. And so I hated the feeling of being angry about where we were. I just want to be thankful because I know that things are good, like, and they could be so much worse, and I've experienced worse, and so it's irritating to me that I can't. It's irritating that it upsets me. I just, I don't want to dwell on it, I guess, even though I'm, like, talking about it over and over and crying.
Well, the reason I asked about the anger piece is that institutionally, sociologically, you know, culture doesn't tend to honor women's anger.
Yeah,
and accept it.
Yeah.
And accept it as being what it is.
Yeah.
And so, you know, part of me wants to say, you know, I wonder how much of it is being a victim of circumstances outside your scope of operation. And the other part of me wants to say, yeah, I wonder how pissed off she is. And if she's afraid of people's reactions to her being pissed off.
I don't know, I think whenever I get mad, it just, gets marked as being emotional, and, you know, you get the phrase like, oh, she's, you know, oh, you're just crazy, you're just a woman. So I don't, honestly, like, I don't really get mad that often. Or my anger looks like tears because I think that's the more acceptable form of, like, women's feelings. But yeah, I guess if I think about it, I want to, like, go run on a treadmill right now, so I know I'm mad. Like, if I just want to, like, go work out and, like, punch something, I know that I'm mad. But I don't really have a way to, like, articulate that other than through tears. Or that's the way I've chosen to articulate it.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't have any advice to give you that because, yeah, you know, I don't know what it's like to be in your shoes.
Yeah.
And
I'll just go do some Zumba tonight and be fine.
Sorry.
It's fine. It's so true, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it does beg the question of you know, we've talked, and you articulated it too, that we don't have to externalize all our feelings
Right.
in every situation. But is there a way, and I don't know, I don't pretend to be good at this, is there a way to both articulate, you used another word other than anger, frustration.
Yeah.
How do I articulate to others in a professional way?
Mm-hmm.
How do I articulate with others, that this is really frustrating to me, that I've been going in this direction, thinking that this was the vision, thinking that this was what we wanted to do, and now I'm hearing something different. And being able to say, I heard it as direction,
Mm-hmm.
that this is the way we're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than you and Angela coming to me and saying, well, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
And how does this impact you?
Yeah.
You gave me direction, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder, I think I would like to at least try with Jim just to say, like, just that, like, I'm frustrated and I don't want an answer back from you. Like, I'm just going to tell you how I feel and I need you to hear me, but I don't need an answer back from you. Because sometimes, actually almost every time I share any sort of frustration or emotion with him, there's always an answer back that, like, negates.
Here's why you shouldn't.
Yeah,
feel this way.
here's why you shouldn't feel this way, and I don't want that. Like, I just need to know that you hear me, and I'll go whatever not as I'm not trying to change his mind. I'm not trying to tell him I'm not going to do what he asked me to do, but I just need him to hear me because I don't think he hears anybody other than himself. And so maybe, I'm not afraid to do that to him. I'm not going to do it in public, but I'll pull him aside
right,
and share.
That's the professional part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll walk into his office and say, Jim, I just want to tell you something. I don't want an answer now or ever, really. I just need you to hear what I'm saying. And I think he could do that. It might make me feel better, just to be able to...
You know where I'm at.
Yeah, just know where I am.
And then you claim it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think part of this week that made it difficult was because we were with people that we did love and that loved us. And so, when you're up here and people are asking how things are going, and, you're like, oh, they're fine. But we just had so many opportunities this week just to be honest with people that I think it, like, really was like, whoa. I thought, let's put that back down where it used to be so we can function.
You'll never ever find.
Yeah. So I think it was a good week. I'm really thankful for it. But just a hard season. But I think we can make... It's also ridiculous because I hear myself saying that. I'm like, I know I'm going to, like, look back on, we're going to move somewhere next. And I'm going to look back and say, oh, I miss. Maybe. But the likelihood of that happening is pretty high because that's what always happens. Grass is always greener.
Yeah, I think the further away that time takes you away from a painful experience, that you tend to remember better things about. At least I do.
Yeah.
Anyway. So.
Yeah, I know, because I was sitting and saying, like, oh, I wish I was back at Bethlehem, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, well, remember, I would catch myself and I'd be like, remember when I used to complain about at Bethlehem? And, like, here I am, getting to do what I literally wanted to do at Bethlehem. And yet I still find space to complain. Like, what does that say about me?
I think that's worthwhile self-awareness. In and of itself, to be able to ask oneself of those kinds of questions, I think are is a good reflection piece. But I think I guess I'll go back to to the question of how do I claim who I am, what I experience, what I feel, what I think, what I dream, what I fantasize about. How do I claim all of that and articulate it with my best functioning, my best professional functioning?
I had a therapist in college when I went through a really bad breakup. I started going to therapy, and the breakup was like totally consuming, like everything about me. I could not function. Like I couldn't do the work, I couldn't do anything. And not that I'm like to this point now, but one of the weirdest and best skills he taught me, he was like, you have a microwave in your room, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, okay, what I want you to do is open the door of the microwave, set alarm clock, set like 3 minutes, speak all the things about the breakup that are happening to you. And just open the door of the microwave, just speak it in there. When the alarm goes off, shut the door. And then go do what you have to go do. And then, set another alarm for like an hour from then. And you can open the door of the microwave and speak all the things that you need to speak into it. And you have to shut the door after 3 minutes and go do. And so I did it, but it worked.
I thought you were going to turn it on and
No.
Yeah.
You just speak it. It was just the idea that like you put it in a place.
Uh-huh.
You can kind of, and then eventually, days went on, I didn't have to do that as often. And so I'm wondering if right now I'm not doing that to a microwave again, because then I lived alone and there was no one with me, but like making that space for myself again, and just I think it's so easy for us to stop taking care of ourselves and stop doing the things that help us to function at our best. And I think there's a time to have the pity party, and I'm really thankful for this space that I get to do that weekly, but it's ending. And so just making sure that I have that space, because soon there will be no bill, and wow, this is weird. But there won't be, there's not going to be that space. And so, we learned here that to do good functioning, you have to make those spaces for yourself. And so making sure that I have those spaces and that time set aside to claim, what's true about what's going on in my life and my feelings and my hopes and dreams, and whether that's through a journal or a clergy peer group or counseling or all those things together. Like, I think just remembering I have those tools, I have them, and I know how to use them. And yeah, keeping my nose down, but then also not so far down that I can't even claim to my coworkers what I'm feeling. I don't have to divulge every single thought, but I can't be passive aggressive and just not let them in on what's going on with me. So I'm definitely going to share with Jim. I'll wait till after the meeting, because maybe I'm just interpreting things wrong. But the meeting's tomorrow, so we'll find out. But if that's the case,
That's fair.
yeah, it's just irritating. Like, why would you do that? It's just, I don't understand his thought processes, although I'm sure he'd be happy to tell me. Well, Heather, blah, blah, blah. I definitely don't want him to say anything after I tell him I'm frustrated, because if he starts off with, well, Heather, I might leap across that desk.
Take in a roll of duct tape with you and say, if you start talking, this is
what's happening.
Yeah. Well,
Thanks for listening. And always surprising when you think you've got nothing to bring to community group time and you end up sobbing. So I didn't actually sob, but crying. It's good though. I'm thankful for it. You got anything?
I feel for you, because the words you use, I know I've been using. I guess the only difference is some of the people I work with, I feel stuck with.
Uh-huh.
I get to do life-giving things right now with my work, and that has been a saving grace.
Yeah.
So, having the past week to be home with Michaela and away from the office and away from, it's not a toxic environment, but it's an anxious environment.
Draining.
Yeah, that coupled with, been reading a book called The Wesley Challenge, small group that I'm ending, because Sunday nights are a terrible time for a pastor to have a small group, are, the questions of the last week, one of them talks about insecurities. And the guy does a pretty good job. It's one of the pastors at Church of Resurrection, because that's Methodist headquarters. He did a really good job, I thought, of writing enough to trigger your thoughts and to suggest things without it coming across like a cheap self-help book. It's more of like, here's things you can think about. So it's like, and they're all based off of John Wesley's historical questions that he used in his small group. And one of them was, do you find yourself distrustful? And whenever I read that question, I always took it as, am I hard to trust? But what it's really asking is, do you have a hard time trusting other people? And I'm sitting there after a week where I was like, Joanna was peeing me off, and Kirk was pissing me off at times, and feeling frustrated with them as fellow leaders, and my perceived feelings about how they felt towards me, and it was kind of just someone holding up a stop sign and saying, okay, just stop where you're at. And the reason I asked you what gives you hope is because I spent a week asking myself what gives me hope in what I'm doing. Knowing Katie is going through almost not the exact same thing because it's different,
right.
but a very similar situation where she does not want to be here. Winchester is not home, and she just got work has been hard for her because the leadership at her work is poor, and while she is getting to do good things, she doesn't feel like she's making a difference, which is debatable, but alas, she feels that way. And she got a call from a place where she interned that had a much better work culture, and she got really excited, and she makes 15 an hour, works 40 hours a week right now. They can only offer 30 hours at 12. And so it's one of those we can't do that. And how she was like, that was supposed to be the first, the turning point for Winchester, and I'm still stuck here.
Yeah.
And so part of me just listening to you talk was just listening to the conversation. Yeah.
Am I in my living room right now?
Well, and it's Katie really wrestles with what it means to be in the role of pastor's wife at a church where the other pastor's wife, there's two other clergy, one of the spouses never comes because he lives in Sterling.
Yeah.
And that's Joanne's. And Kirk's is diagnosably struggles with mental health, and so does not have a role really. And so Katie is following the role of pastor's wife that also overcommitted along with the associate pastor in terms of not being able to say no and to being at things. And just that was the opposite of what is ideal for Katie's role right now, to just be able to show up and be there. And so I have been trying to figure out how we're not moving. And I told her when we were talking, all right, unless this is threatening your well-being, I'm not quitting the ministry for us to move. And she's like, well, I'm not asking you to do that. That's not the point. But that same feeling of well, there's nothing we can do, and there's no way to fix this. And how it took me 2-3 weeks to get to be I'm going to stop suggesting things that might fix this, and just, this is where we're at. And then trying to move in, okay, well, what can we grasp onto in the meantime?
Yep.
And Katie would say Michaela, just like you said, Nora. And just like you said, you don't know, I asked Katie 3 days ago, and she said, I have no idea.
Yeah.
And wanting to be like, what can we come up with that gives us hope? But it's
Yeah.
more just like, right now, it just feels like a hopeless situation.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think there's some power in naming that. And even in the midst of wrestling, we're like, well, is this a victim identity or is this a stuckness? Because I heard that thing when I'm thinking about all the times I say I'm stuck. Well, at least if we can name that, that gives us something to stand on what we look where we want to go from there.
I guess it should give us hope that all of us don't want to live in the stuckness. Like, I think
Right.
the thing that I'm hearing both us and our spouses say is like, we want to recognize it, we want to claim that this is how we're feeling, but we don't want it to dictate
Sure.
our day to day.
So part of being stuck, I think, is that you're lacking agency.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.